Hello, I'm Timothy Hilton, and welcome to American Veterans. Though fighting in a war can be quite traumatic, becoming a prisoner of war is something most soldiers think will never happen to them. Our first guest, Bob Wilson, found himself in both situations when, at the age of 18, he was drafted into the Army, fought for freedom in World War II, and survived a German POW camp. He shared with us his experiences as an infantryman and a prisoner of war. His story begins when he found himself alone in a dense fog with no one around but a wounded German soldier. He tells us why he believes his actions that day may have been why he survived a POW camp when others did not.
Just as soon as I got in the fog, you couldn't see 10 feet. And I said, man, what am I going to do? So I was really on the alert. I'd take real slow steps, and I'd get down and try to look under the fog. Didn't do much good. And finally I come to a roadway, and I glanced off to my left, and there was a car, a German laying in this car that was just demolished, probably hit by a tank shell, blew it to smithereens. And he was laying in all this rubble and wounded pretty bad. He looked up at me. He says, Wasser? Wasser? I said, water? Wasser? I had 2 canteens. I took off one of them and gave it to him. All the time watching him. If he moved that one hand, it was under him, and I took it was mangled, but if he moved it, I would have shot him again, because it could have been a trick. But I gave him the canteen of water, and Danke, thank you. And I looked around again, and then I could hear a tank, and I left him on the road. Oh, and I told him, I'll send a medic. I said, American medic, come to help you. And he seemed to understand that. But I often wondered, did anybody, I told the lieutenant, I said, he needs help, he's really bad shape. And I told him you'd help him. He said, we'll send a medic over. I hope that he did, but I don't know. Why did I help him? Well, I don't know, it was the only humane thing to do, and the poor guy certainly was no threat to anybody. I mean, he was really in bad shape. And I decided, well, I really didn't give it any thought. I just gave him my water. And I'm glad I did. Maybe that's why I was able to get through some close calls, because I did show a little respect there. I can remember laying in a bomb crater in Munich, and the British were bombing, and my gosh, the sky was lit up, and they had us locked in boxcars right on the target area. And when the British bombed, when they knew it was over the city, they just let them go. And when the Americans bombed, they had the Norden bomb site, which was perfect. And we went over in the daytime, what's more danger, but we could hit the target. I remember they finally opened up this boxcar, and we all ran with the guards, and I jumped into a bomb crater, big hole, and I jumped down in there, and there was guards there too, and I just laid back, and boy, it was just like watching a movie. I could see the planes, and the shooting was going on, the searchlights, it was just like a movie. And I laid there and just enjoyed watching that whole thing, not realizing what a situation I was in. You can't imagine what it's like to be really hungry. You dream food, you talk about it to each other. I never had a meal in 224 days. I never had a meal. And because I was a private infantry, I had to work, and that was the best thing that happened to me, because I worked on the railroad, and occasionally, not every time, occasionally they'd give you a bowl of potato soup. The only thing I ever saw in the barracks was a German military bread. It was just like a block of sawdust. You could take it, it was so dry, and it would just fall on the ground like sawdust. It made me appreciate the smallest things in life that you would never imagine. I rarely complain about anything because everything seems to be so perfect. And I look in the refrigerator, and after 60 years, I bet at least once a week, I look in that refrigerator, it's got everything about my favorite fruits. My daughter's a nurse, and she really takes care of me, and she knows I love fruit, and that refrigerator is full of fruit and everything else that I like, just packed full. But almost every time I open that door, I look at that and think, man, you people don't have any idea how lucky you are to have that much food, even half that. And I really appreciate everything in life. I don't know what could happen that would make me really complain.
That's our show for today. Remember, we enjoy our freedoms because everyday citizens known simply as veterans answered the call to fight for liberty. I'm Timothy Hilton, and I'll see you next time on American Veterans.